So Big Team Battle has been broken for about 2 weeks now, and 343 has made great strides and made it an effort and a priority to fix it by charging $7 for the color brown. So in celebration of Big Team Battle being unplayable, I'm going to rank all of the vehicles in Halo Infinite. Each vehicle's position on this list will be based on a number of factors across both multiplayer and campaign. Now you might be wondering, Nikos, if there's no Big Team Battle, how did you use it in multiplayer? That's easy. It's the big maps on Fiesta. In case you didn't know, in Fiesta, on Behemoth and Launch Site, it spawns random vehicles. And it totally ruins Fiesta, and I love it. Anyway, I'm going to be rating each of the vehicles based on their utility, their lethality, their vitality, and their invertibility, which is basically how well the vehicle controls. We're going to get started with the Warthog. The Warthog is a classic. In Infinite, it's still a fairly useful vehicle. It's definitely going to be a B. Now, compared to previous games, this Warthog is far worse. In fact, most of the vehicles in this game, if not all of them, are much weaker than previous iterations. I'm not just talking in health, but in maneuverability, they all kind of control like hot garbage compared to other Halo games, but that's besides the point. This list is just ranking Halo Infinite vehicles, so on a vehicle spectrum, the Warthog in Infinite is a B. Now, as for utility, this thing can transport flag carriers, it can transport teammates, it's got a lot of uses, especially in objective game modes. As for lethality, this thing's got a very good gun. The chain gun has and will always be a very good weapon, and it's especially great at melting infantry and doing damage to light vehicles. But vitality-wise, this thing is made of paper mache. Like, quite literally, you're gonna be shedding parts on this thing. I guess they made the vehicle out of super glued components, because things just pop off of it with minimal fire. Like, just watching it break is kind of funny. It's like a Lego set. But as for maneuverability, this thing is quick, and it moves pretty well. It controls pretty decently, though it is lighter than a feather, and this thing will flop all over the place. If you hit a tiny rock, you're gonna flip this thing. But it does have the pro of being able to break physics by course correcting in midair. Don't ask me how that works. Anyway, we're moving on to the Rockethog. Now, the Rockethog is the exact same as the standard chain gun hog, but it replaces the minigun turret with a rocket turret. And it's also a B, though I'd like to say it's kind of a lame B. It's more of a B-. It's still good, but it's mostly just useful for taking out air vehicles and ground vehicles. It does have a lock-on. You can lock onto air vehicles, and it does significantly less damage to infantry than the standard Warthog, but still a good vehicle, if not average. It's very close to a C. It's kind of weak, but I'm going to give it a B because it's still useful. Now we're moving on to the Ghost. Now this space scooter, I'm in love with it. It's an A. I love it. This thing is somehow much better than any other Ghost I've used in a Halo game. This is perhaps the one vehicle that I prefer this version to previous games. It has an incredibly high speed, especially when you move diagonally. If you're trying to get from point A to point B, look to the left or right a little and go diagonally, and you're gonna go twice as fast. I don't know why that's a feature. It's a bug, I'm betting, but you will not be able to be hit. You'll be moving so quickly, you'll be dodging enemy fire like wild. It's got very good guns on it, and it's got the ability to splatter enemies and boost, which is great. As for vitality, it also has a decent chunk of health. It seems like it has more health than a Warthog, which is good, because anything with more health than a Warthog is better than a Warthog, in my opinion. But it's a solid vehicle, and it goes without saying it controls amazingly as well, and I don't see myself flipping it ever. Alright, moving on to the Mongoose. Now, rating the Mongoose on this list isn't really fair, since it's just a basic ATV. It belongs more in the X games than in Halo or a combat environment, but being as I have to rate it because it is a Halo Infinite vehicle, it's an F. Although, its job is drive you and a friend from point A to point B. You can capture flags with it, though I never really see it happen, and I see most players avoiding this vehicle entirely because you do really make yourself a very vulnerable target on this thing. You don't have any weapons. You don't have anything but what the passenger has. The passenger ain't gonna hit anything because you're flopping all over the map because this thing is lighter than the Warthog. So I'd say it goes an F, but I still love it. It has a nice warm place in my heart, in my cold, dead heart. Anyway, we're moving on to the Gungoose. The Gungoose is a different story. That's going to be a C. It's amazing what a pair of grenade launchers can do for a vehicle's reputation.
Gungoose.
It does have all the issues of the previous Mongoose, the biggest one being just being able to be sniped out of it so easily. But the grenade launchers are powerful. You can one-shot Spartans in multiplayer, you can shred light infantry in campaign, and it has a little bit of splash damage to boot with it, which is... that's pretty good if you ask me. And now we move on to the chopper. The brute chopper is very different than its previous iterations. I'm gonna give it a B. No, hold on, don't bomb the comments yet. I know what you're saying. It sucks compared to the Halo 3 chopper. It kinda does. But let me tell you why the chopper's pretty good. It has no utility aside from the high speed and the boost, but its guns are pretty good. It's got this arcing action, and somehow they seem to be like hit scanned or lasered, like guided, because you're going to be hitting targets that you wouldn't believe you're hitting. I guess it has some bullet magnetism, but the chopper's main guns are fairly lethal, especially in campaign, but also in multiplayer. I find that if you just hang back and shoot enemies from afar with it, you'll be doing more work than getting up close and personal. Now as for vitality, it's got a decent amount of health as well. Kind of similar to the Ghost and about how much health it has, but it is gonna make you very vulnerable because of its issues with maneuvering if you get shot from the side or back. So keep your front pointed to the enemy and you're not gonna have any problems with getting sniped out of your seat. Now the chopper does have pretty garbage maneuverability. Like this thing controls like hot garbage. You're gonna be flipping it all the time. Most of the time I die is because I flip the chopper and get booted out of it. It's obnoxious, but I kind of love the chopper because it's got this boost. Now this boost got nerfed in that it no longer one-shots hogs or does a lot of damage, but this thing zooms. Like someone set the boost to wumbo. You should see this thing. It's ridiculous. You're going to be launching across the map if you're not careful, and anytime you initiate boost, bruh, anyone in your way better get out of there because you're going to become a bullet train. But when you use it slowly and methodically, you can do some damage with it. So it's a B. If the Halo Infinite vehicles were a cast in a sitcom, the chopper would definitely be the comic relief. I'd swear I use this half the time just to get a good laugh. Anyway, now we move on to the Razorback. Now the Razorback is just a Warthog with no gun, but it's got space for friends and extra health and armor. It's an S, which is a bit surprising to those of you not in the loop. The Razorback, also known as the Party Hog, can load up to 3 Spartans in multiplayer, 5 Marines in campaign, or you can even put 2 power seeds on the back or a flag on the back, so you can capture a flag solo with this thing. Or if you get 3 friends in there with all power seeds and you got 2 in the back, you got a full power level in stockpile. So basically you can get a third of the way to victory with one single Razorback load. It's actually really impressive. Now in campaign is when it really shines. You load 5 Marines with overpowered weapons in this thing and you're gonna become just an Armageddon machine. I don't even know how to describe how broken it is, but it's obviously an S, if not just for the campaign performance. It is the best vehicle in all of campaign, if used correctly. Alright, now we move on to the Banshee. Now, they massacred my boy. I used to love the Banshee. It's a D. It's real sad what they've done to it. Utility-wise, it's fast. It's an air vehicle, it can fly. If you can make it there in one piece. This thing has... The Banshee has trash main weapons. The main plasma cannons I barely bother with. The Banshee bomb itself does very little damage as well. So most of the time you're just going to be trying to splatter people with it, because its guns are pretty bad. But it still splatters okay, so there's that. Now, good luck trying to splatter, because the vitality on this thing is so weak. It sheds parts worse than the Warthog. It gets downed with a single skewer shot. While the boost ability is great, it can't be combined with the stunt. So if you're boosting, you have to slow down just to do a stunt, to dodge enemy fire. So basically, to dodge enemy fire, you have to cease forward movement. The amount of genius that goes into a strategy like that is... I don't know why they designed it like that. They should have kept it to where you could do stunts while boosting. Also, it can do this. Really? It's a travesty. The only reason it's not an F is because it can fly and can still kind of get kills from time to time. So, there's that. Now for the Wasp. Now the Wasp was introduced in Halo 5 as a rec card. Now despite that leaving a really bad taste in my mouth, the Wasp is an S. It's quick, very maneuverable, as are VTOLs in Halo games. Utility-wise, this vehicle has a really good, not so well-known ability to it. You can actually assist in flag captures and power seed captures with it. Check it. Oh yeah, here we go.
Oh my god.
Here we go. Stay on board, stay on board. Here we go.
No way! Oh my god.
Yo!
So cool.
But when we got the power seed, this kind of happened, so...
Thank you, okay.
The game is moving like normally. I don't know why it's just the...
Okay, Nick, we're doing the same strategy.
Yeah, that's probably because the game was new, but... Anyway, we succeeded. Just jump on top of it and carry your friend home. The guns on this thing are solid. The rockets are even better. They even have a vehicle lock on. Wasps are straight killing spree machines, and the only thing keeping it from taking over the world is it does have a weaker vitality. It can be taken out in one skewer shot, and if shocked, you're going to be knocked off the map. It also has really low health. However, if you can dodge in and out of cover with this thing, and go behind cliffs and bob and weave, you're going to keep this thing alive much longer. So just use its maneuverability to its advantage. It's got great controls and speed, and use that to make yourself a difficult target. Wraith time. Now the Wraith was first fully conventional in Halo 2, surprisingly, though it did make an appearance in Halo CE's campaign, but in Halo Infinite, it is an easy S. It doesn't do much for capping objectives, obviously, as it is just a big tank, but it does have a big mortar and a gun turret on it. Now the turret itself actually has a shield that wraps around the user, which is honestly really good. Compared to previous designs, I actually want to use the turret on the Wraith because I won't get sniped out of it. So, massive plus. And the main gun on the Wraith can just devastate at many ranges. The only disadvantage of the Wraith is really the gun has slow projectile speed, but if you can get good at leading targets, that's no longer a problem. You're still going to be melting. It also has a boost ability, which makes it to where you can escape in a pinch or even splatter enemies that are trying to hijack you, so solid vehicle in both multiplayer and campaign. Now for my favorite since Halo CE, that would be the Scorpion. That is an easy S. This 4-tracked, beautiful behemoth fills a similar role to the Wraith in the tank department, and it also provides a cushy, safe place for a gunner, complete with a shield, just like the Wraith. It's great. The main gun also does away with the disadvantage of the Wraith's gun, as it does dispense high-velocity shells that actually destroy vehicles and infantry alike, just like the Wraith. And being as it is a tank, it can take a lot of heavy fire and torment. The only thing this tank doesn't have going for it is it's a big, slow-moving target, so you're going to be easy to hit. And it does have some funky control issues, at least on PC. I don't know about console, but sometimes when I try to go forwards, it goes backwards or freaks out depending on where I'm aiming the turret. And it makes it just annoying to control. That's probably due to the 6 pedals that it's got, but that's just speculation at this point. Regardless of the control issues, this tank is perhaps the best vehicle in the game. Now that's going to be it for the list. I hope you Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, the Pelican. Anyway, you can glitch the Pelican in campaign and fly it. Fun fact for you. I got a video linked below if you want to know how to do that. There's a little tutorial. But it allows you to fly around the campaign map. It has a lot of health. It has no guns, sadly. It's also very glitchy. If you fly over a chasm or a canyon, it's going to get you stuck and kill you automatically. But this thing will get you around the map. I'm going to give it a C. It's average. So anyway, that's going to be the list. I hope you enjoyed this video and got something out of it. If you did, let me know down below. Also, if you want to debate the placements of the vehicles, let me know down below as well. I hope you enjoyed. Hope you have a good one. I'm Nikos. See ya.